Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for another week of SNS. And this week I thought it would be fun to go ahead and share some new tools that I got in the shop. I've got two boxes right here from FedEx, and I thought it would be fun to share what these boxes are from right here. So we just got back from our trip up in Kentucky and Ohio. Abby and I, we went up there and we had a couple of really awesome and fun and adventurous shop tours up there. So we went up to Louisville, Kentucky so that we could do a tour at the Stronghold plant and had a great time there. So we're gonna have an awesome video to share of that pretty soon, of the Stronghold Products plant there in Louisville, Kentucky. And then afterwards we went up a little ways to Dayton, Ohio, up to Gerstner, and we got to do a shop tour there at Gerstner as well. And we talked about the tool chest that I had previously shown over here on the table, sent up there, and we showed that, and we talked about the restoration process that's involved in that, and then we did a shop tour. So really awesome content that I'm excited to share with you that's going to be coming to the channel pretty soon. So while we were up there, in between our little adventures doing the shop tours, Abby and I, we like to check out the antique stores in between our destinations. So in doing so, we usually accumulate a couple of things. And I think it's funny that we'll share some of these things on Instagram, and people usually make comments about how much spare room we have in our luggage whenever we're flying, because we usually fly to these places, and there's usually not very much room. If you have a couple small things, you could throw those into a carry-on bag or even a checked bag if you got enough room in there. But usually you're limited to 50 pounds with your checked bag, and by the time you put all your belongings in there, you really don't have a lot of room to bring back things, especially if you buy some tools. So what I do is, if we buy some things, it's very simple just to go down to the FedEx ship store and just throw everything in a box and just ship it back to yourself, and it's here in like 2 days. So that's exactly what we did. And then you don't have to worry about limiting yourself on how much if there's something that you really want to buy, if you find this really cool trinket or a really special tool that you find when you're out there on the road, you don't have to worry about putting it in your luggage. Don't sweat it. Just find the nearest FedEx or UPS or whatever. You can even go to the post office. It doesn't really matter. I just picked FedEx because they have a place there you can go to and bring your stuff there, and they'll wrap everything up for you in bubble wrap and put it in a box and ship it to you. So that's exactly what they did. So we got some really nice things. I thought I'd go through and show you some of those tools that I found. And this right here, I'll open it up and show you. This was a decimal equivalent chart that Abby found, and I thought that was pretty cool, because that's the first one that she's actually found, as we like to say, out in the wild. I have found a couple out in the wild, but that was the first one that she found out in the wild, and she picked up. So I'll get this box opened up. I got to unwrap everything, and then let's go through some tools, and then I've got plenty of other content to share with you in this episode as well. All right, so here's the decimal equivalent chart that Abby found there. It is a Cleveland twist drill. Beautiful wall chart there. I love these charts, absolutely love them. They're beautifully made, and I just can't get enough of them. And it was wonderfully priced at 35 bucks. And I've got a little video there to share of whenever she found this, so I'll go ahead and play that now. You might get a little kick out of that.
Oh wait, is that a terrible angle for me?
Tell me, I'm taking a video.
Oh, stop! Don't do that to me.
What did you find? What did you find?
My first decimal equivalent chart out in the wild.
First one.
First one.
First one. And it's a Cleveland.
It's a Cleveland. It's been used for sure, but
how much? What's the price tag on that?
$35.
35 bucks.
Purchase.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow. Look at that. It's in great shape. First one in the wild.
Yeah.
That is a great score right there. Are you buying it for me?
Of course I'm buying it for you.
Thanks, babe.
to hang in my office.
Hey, what else did you find right here?
Well, there's a huge vise down there.
A huge vise?
I haven't seen the main
Whoa,
though.
check that out. Look at that. I gotta go check that out.
So just for anybody that might be wondering, so this is how FedEx will pack it for you whenever you want to just come in somewhere. You know, if you don't have packing supplies or a box or anything, you go in one of those stores, and it's a little bit of a fee there. It's not a lot of money. You go in and they'll do everything for you. They take your item and they bubble wrap it, tape it up, and then they pick the appropriate size box for you, and then pack everything in there. So you can see we've got a lot of individual items right there, but there's some things in here that are Abby's too. So it's gonna take some time to unwrap everything, and I'll bring you back. So here's all of my scores that I picked up on the road when I was in both Kentucky and Ohio on my trip up there, and I found some really nice things up there. We went to a few antique stores and some antique malls, and a couple of those places had some pretty nice selections of things, and it's a mix of I would say good and bad pricing. You know, you'd look in some of these display cases, and sometimes there would be some tools that were very fairly priced, and you look at the tool next to it and it would be way overpriced. So there was just some things that I would pass up on just because it's just too overpriced. And I try to be a little bit more selective over what I'm collecting now, because I do have a lot of tools already, and so I try to find things like Lufkin. You know, I don't have as much Lufkin that I do Starrett, and I love Lufkin tools. I think they are just as high as quality as Starrett, and in some cases they seem to be just slightly beefier, a little bit more weight and casting to them. So I try to pick those up, and there was a seller I got these 3 items from that they were all in the same case, so they had a lot of Lufkin tools there. So I actually brought out some of my catalogs too that we'll go through and look at a couple of these tools here and see what they say about them. I wanted to start with this one. This is a caliper that I had found in one of the antique stores there, and I went in my Starrett catalogs, and I cannot find this exact shape caliper in there. Now these are the adjustable joint hermaphrodite style. I think it's called a transfer type of caliper. So you could use this to transfer a measurement, you know. But I cannot find this where you got this curved leg on one side and then the straight leg on the other. So I don't know how old this is and how far back this goes. It does not have a model number on it, but this is pretty old. But I got this, and I did not have to pay very much for this. So it's in really good shape. These are adjustable, by the way. So this was one of the alligator wrenches. This was a Williams, and it's in really good shape. Thought that was pretty cool. Number 2.5 Bulldog. Same place that I found that, I picked up this guy right here, Standard Tool Company from Cleveland. This is a drill index, and I've sewed these before. This was still in really good shape. It's stamped RR on the back right there. This is for a number drill set right there, and I always get excited whenever I see these out there in the stores, because they just don't come up too often whenever I'm looking there. And this is a set of Starrett parallels, and one of them is still wrapped up in the tissue paper right there, and then the other one is not. So the Starrett number 384, 1/4 by 3/4 by 6 inch. And I'll pull you down here so you can get a better look at some of this stuff right there. And then of course we got our nice Eagle number 66 Oilers. These have become so much fun to find. Abby and I, whenever we're going through the stores, these are like Easter eggs to me. You going through and you just never know when one of these things are going to come up, because they're just in complete random places. And you know, you're looking in a booth that you wouldn't think one of these Oilers are going to be in, and there's one sitting on a shelf randomly. And they're real easy to miss, because I miss them all the time. And then Abby comes behind me and she'll send me a text or something and say, hey, did you see the Eagle oiler? And I'm like, no. And then she'll send me a picture holding one that I missed that she got. And it's so funny. So we just kind of, it's almost like a little competition now where we're seeing who finds one first, you know. So there was several of them. So we got 4 of the Eagle 66 oilers that we picked up. And when they're reasonably priced, I pick them up. And I found this guy right here too. This is the Eagle number 33. One of these guys right here, this one's got a dented top right there, and it's missing the little tip on the end of it. But it was cheap, and we picked it up. And like Abby says, she likes using some of these little things like this for you know, decorating in the house. So this probably go in the house on a shelf, you know. And while I was up there, the first stop was Pit Barrel Company, and I got to hang out with Noah. He is the you know, the president, the founder of the Pit Barrel Company, and I'll have a little video over on the Adventures channel hanging out with him. He invited me over to the new facility. They just moved into a new warehouse there in Louisville. And while we were there, we cooked a couple of big tomahawk steaks on one of his pit barrels. And this is a knife set. This is a steak knife set that he gave me just as a gift. I hadn't even opened it up yet, but a set of 4 steak knives. And he also gave Abby and I some t-shirts. So got to thank Noah for that. And really enjoyed hanging out with him and cooking those steaks. And that was the best steak that I've ever had, was cooked on that pit barrel. And I can't wait to do some of those out here on my own pit barrel after seeing how he did them on his. So for our calipers right here, we're going to go into my Steer-It number 18 catalog, and I've got the page marked right here, so you can see lock joint transfer calipers, and I have gone through, and you can see some that look similar, but the one leg is not, they're not shaped exactly like what we have here with the big curved leg and then one of the straight leg with the bent in there. So not exactly the same, but they're built the same, they're just not shaped exactly the same. So lock joint transfer calipers is what we have right there. Okay, there's some more of them right there. All right, here's another one of the tools that I picked up, and it's the Steer-It number 289B, and that's this guy right here. So it's a right angle clamp, and what you can do is clamp 2 rules at 90 degrees. So you would normally just take 2 of your rules, you know, like if you've got a 12-inch and a 24-inch rule, you can clamp them at 90 degrees, but you can also clamp these special gauges in this guy also. And then this is how I picked this up. So somebody might have been using this as a special gauge. So this one right here is a number 13 gauge, and on this side it says octagon, and on this other side it says hexagon. Okay. And you can use that to check angles. This other one right here is 59-degree cutting angle of a drill, and that side right there says 41-degree cutting angle of countersink for machine screws. So that's just how I picked it up. All right, and then I was going to show you, so number 13, I've got this page marked right here. So that would actually go into one of these double squares right there, which I have. And so you can use a double square like this with this gauge, this number 13. And so you can check the angle of, say, like a hex nut, to make sure that you have your angle on. So like whenever I was machining that big hex nut for the shaper bar, the internal bar, I could have used that gauge like so and check that to see if I was on the proper angle. And you can also use it, this other one, to check your drill point angle. So there you go. I wanted to share what that was used for, and let me find the page that the 289 is on as well. All right, so for the 289, we had to go to one of my newer catalogs. So we've got it bookmarked right here, and there we go. There's the 289, and there you can see you got the 2 rules clamped at 90 degrees. You got the 289A and then the 289B. So it holds different size rules in there. This was a neat catalog that I saw in one of the display cabinets right there. Neil Laville Supply Company, and this was up in Louisville. And I picked it up because I thumbed through it, and it's exactly what I was hoping that it would be. As I was going through, all of your classic tools are in this. So they have a whole section on Starrett. Okay, all of your classic Starrett tools, and not just Starrett. So look, there's a page right there showing Reed vices, Wilton vices, Columbia vices. There's all your machine hold down clamps right there. Look, Armstrong machinery, planer jacks, parallel clamps, all of your machine shop tooling, high speed tooling right there, lathe tooling. I love these catalogs. I love being able to look back through there. Look, there's our Oilers right there. So there's here's the Eagle number 33s. Let's see if there's the 66, and there they are right there. There's the Eagle 66, and then the Eagle 66F. So that's these guys right here. So there's the Eagle 66F, and of course your other one, your Eagle 66. So how cool is that? It's always fun to be able to reference these old catalogs, to be able to go through and just find all the stuff that we love, all of the old tools. So just a neat catalog. Wasn't very much. I had to pick it up to put it in my library inside, and I enjoyed getting that one. All right, so this is the Lufkin Master Planer Gauge, number 900. And I don't have one of these, and it was in good shape, so I picked it up. It's in good working condition. And I wanted to go ahead and show you this in one of my Lufkin catalogs right here. We've already got the page marked right there. Oh, we got that one marked for the level that we've got over here. So here we go. Here's the number 900 Master Planer and Shaper Gauge. And another good reason why it's fun to own these catalogs is because these pictures in there, so you can see illustrations and examples on how planer gauges were used. So there's being used set up at an angle as like a sign, and then this one right there is being set up at a particular height. They're using it, and they're setting for whatever reason. They're just setting a certain height right there and indicating the top of it. And then this one here, they're setting the tool at a certain distance from the table up. So you would adjust this. You would adjust this and then use this piece right here. Let me see if I can get it out of there. So you would set that with a mic or a caliper or whatever, depends on the accuracy needed. And then you would set that onto the table and then touch your tool to the top of it. So like if you got, say, maybe a big piece of plate or any kind of work piece clamped down to the table, you know what your distance from the table up, or maybe sitting on parallels from there up to the surface that you're cutting, you know what that distance is by using this kind of setup right there, by setting your tool height. All right, and then of course, and I've shown this before, so you can take a measurement using a planer gauge like that. You can use this like an adjustable parallel to get into it a distance and measure it, tighten it up, pull it out, and then you can mic it that way, or set it to a certain distance and use it as a gauge. All right, so just wanted to kind of share that. People usually enjoy seeing those kind of things there. So this was the first tool that I actually picked, and it is a Lufkin number 58 machinist level in excellent condition. I've got these in Starrett flavors, but I do not have it in Lufkin. Beautiful level, and this was the original box, so this must have been, the owner, A.P. Spencer. I can tell it's the original box because I can see through the end and I can see the Lufkin and the part number there. He must have just taped it up to keep it from falling apart. So, number 58, machinist level. So we'll go back to my book right there and you can see it. They got the number 57 and number 58 machinist levels. And reading in their description, it tells you that these levels right here are good for 3.5 thousandths per foot. All right, and if you need to get better than that, and that's when you step it up to the master precision levels. And these are good for 1/2 thousandths per foot. All right. So that was a very nice find, and I got it for a very good price. Another nice Lufkin score right here. So this is the Lufkin, as we usually find these in the Starrett version as a Starrett number 196 back plunge indicator, but this is the Lufkin version right here, just simply known as the Universal Dial Test Indicator Set. This one being the version 299, I believe, is the 299, and it's complete minus one tip. The original, the small tip, is missing off the end of the indicator, but the indicator still works beautifully. It does not hang up, it's not sticky. It's just missing the original small tip, but it does have the other two large radius tips there. And then we can go to our catalog here as well and verify that it is the number 299A. Indicator complete with attachments in fitted wooden box. The 299 is a dial indicator that goes from 0 to 100 thousandths. So we do have that, 0 to 100 thousandths. The 399 is a 0, 50, and then back to 0 indicator. That's the only difference between the two. So there it is in the catalog. This is the tip right there that I'm telling you that I'm missing. C. So it's actually, I think it's missing C and D. So it looks like we've got two tips missing out of that set, but you can very well just use it with these right there. So that was a nice little set right there. Everything's in really good condition. It's not rusty, it's not abused. It's hardly been used, really. All right, the last tool out of the lot here. This is one that Abby found in a display case, and she had sent me a picture and said that it looked like a stone, or a case for a stone. And I said, yeah, that does look like one, because, you know, Cincinnati, and I see the grinding wheel on there, definitely. So I went over there and checked it out, and had the ladies open it up so I could look at it. And what do you know? It is actually a stone. It's a sharpening stone. And look at that. It's got Cincinnati there on the face of the stone. That is just too cool. It's an aluminum case. What does that say there? Formed by Hydroform, the Cincinnati Milling Machine Company. Isn't that just neat? They got a nice little, they got a liner inside there. It's like some kind of plastic liner in there. And then they got the sharpening stone. That is a dual grit stone in there. It just needs to be cleaned. And then the lid is anodized aluminum. Kind of a funky color. So I'm not really sure the era that this is from. I would have to guess 50s, 60s maybe. I'm not really sure. So I just thought that was really cool. I've never seen one before. So it was not expensive at all. So I picked it up for the collection around here. I got this piece of 1-inch 1045, and I want to put a hole all the way through this because I'm going to make a bushing. I'm building like a special flapping tool, and what this is going to be like a support bushing that's going to go through some bores, and I'm going to have a long rod that goes through there with a flapper on one end, and the grinder will be out here on the other end, and this is going to support it, keep it nice and straight. So I just want to drill a hole through there. So I thought I'd get a little bit of footage of this. And what I'll do is this is 8 inches long. I'll just drill it halfway, flip it around, and drill it the other way. Make it kind of easy. I do want to face the end, make a nice square face on there. I started with that stubby drill, now just going with a normal jobber drill. what I'll do is I'll just work it. I'll just go like one crank of the hand wheel on the tailstock, pull it out just to clear the chips. Just keep doing that. Use just a little bit of cutting oil to help prevent any of the chip welding in there. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it out close to the end. We're not gonna quite get the full half length there. I'm gonna have to go with a long drill bit. It's real simple to me. Just keep plenty of way oil on the ways and the tailstock just slides real easy. All right, there we go. Now we're ready to flip it around and just do the other side just the same. Can't quite reach the middle. I'm gonna have to get my long drill bit out. There we go. Just broke through the other side. These are some cylinder heads off of a Kawasaki ZX7. Belonged to a friend of mine that he's rebuilding. And there's one cam journal, which is this guy right there, that's a little iffy and is needing to, really just needs a little polishing on there. There's a slight amount of scoring on this one journal right there, and just needs a little polishing out. And he was asking me, is it something that I could do? And you know, or he even asked me, is this something that you could line bore? This isn't the kind of work that I get into. It's not something that I want to do. I don't do engine work. You know, there's other machine shops that specialize in this type of work right there. But what I did decide to do was I told him that I could probably most likely get in there and polish it, So that's what I've been working on. I've had these for a few weeks now and just been trying to come up with an easy, creative way to get in there with a flap wheel and just kind of flap that to make sure that this bore right here is polished smooth. And that's what I've been working on with this bushing right there. Now I have been using my plug gauges here to check these bores. So this is another good use of these plug gauges, is getting in here and using these to measure diameters like this. So that right there, that's a great way to measure a bore that's hard to get in there with any other tool, you know, a telescoping gauge or even a tri mic, a bore mic, you know, something like that. You can use these plug gauges to get in there and verify, you know, if you have a set of these plug gauges, you can go in there and verify it. So this one right there says 942 plus, so that's a little bit over that. All right, so here is a 943. This would be a little over 943, and as I recall, it does not want to go in there, 943. So right on this size right here, about 942 and a half to 943 is about what the hole is measuring. That guy right there. So what I want to do, we've got our little bushing made right here, and this is just to kind of protect these other journals right here. I'm going to stick this in there because these other journals are okay. All this is going to be a guide or a bushing, and then I'm going to have a rod that's going to come through here, and we'll have a little flap disc on the end and we'll just probably cut a slit in the end of the rod, put some flap paper in there, some you know, just emery cloth, and I'll have the air grinder connected to this end, and we'll just get in there and just very quickly and easily flap this one, and we'll probably come through here and flap this one on this end there as well, because this one looks like it needs it also down here. There's the piece of drill rod that I'm going to use to make the flap. We'll put a little bit of oil in there. Just figure out a good length there to cut it. We'll turn the end 1/4 inch to fit the grinder and cut the slit on the end there. There's our little flapper rod right there. Got our slit cut in there, so we'll have to put all this together and then stick the emery paper. So I'm going to try this piece. This is a 220 grit emery, the little strip that I cut off. I've already fitted a piece there to it. And what I was doing was kind of going off of one that I've already made a while back. These are just simple little flaps that you can make for your air grinders. There we go. So it'll be like so. So when it's spinning, it'll turn a right-hand direction. This is an example right there. It's just a 1/4 inch rod. I used a hacksaw, cut a little slit in it, and you put it in your air grinder. That's a great way to make a flap right there. That's just whey oil that I got in that can right there. Let's give it a go. That's looking like it's doing a good job there. Nice. Using my gauge plugs. So there's the 942. Still got a good fit through there. I'm going to go to a 943 and see if we've opened it up slightly. Alright, so the 943 is not going through there, so I'm not opening the hole up. And you can tell it's trying to, but it's not going in there, so I'm good on that. I've got a tolerance to fall within, so I know that I'm within that tolerance. Okay, I think we've got this journal polished out, and I think it's going to be fine. That's all he wanted done, was just to kind of hit it like I did there with the polishing, you know, with whatever, you know. So I made up the little flap disc. We wanted to make sure there wasn't any high spots, and there were, because when I first started this, there were high spots in there, and I couldn't get the plug gauge to go through there. So we've got our 942, wasn't that the size that I had said? Yeah, we got our 942 plug gauge, and if we get her lined up correctly, all right, it fits through there just like it's supposed to. And this does fit the other journals as well. So we know we got a good bore size right there. And the other one he had brought in just for me to kind of look over and check and compare there. He had one spot that he wanted me to look that he thought may have been, you know, needed touched up there as well. But just to have both of them in comparison. So just a simple little tool that, you know, some materials that I had laying around the shop that I could make up to try to get the job done around here, and try to, you know, save these cylinder heads from any kind of extravagant machining that may need to be done, or even have to replace the entire head, because I'm sure these are not cheap to replace. And the other thing I remember him saying now was that these have been ported. They went in there and they ported all of those as well. So a lot of time doing that. So, all right, there we go. I'm going to call this one done. Just going to clean up my mess here, and we'll see you on the next little project. Okay.